Good day, fourth grade mathematicians. Last time we met, we learned a little bit about equivalent fractions. We realized that there are many different names of the same amount. And last week we used our handy dandy fraction strip card as a model to see what could be equal to each other. So for example, we may have found last week that if I find 4/10, 1, 2, 3, 4. You might have used a straight edge. Put your straight edge right on that dotted line marking 4/10. And then you could look up and down and say, what is exactly equal to 4/10? Well, you can probably just see here that 2/5 is on the exact same line. So we would say that 4/10 is equivalent to 2/5. Now, the nice thing about this is we can see it as a model, and I hope that you begin to, in your mind, know what a half looks like, know what a fifth looks like, etc. But in life, we don't always have this handy fraction strip model. So we are going to today in our lesson learn how do we go about finding equivalent fractions and something also called simplest form fractions by using basically multiplication and division facts that we know. But let's take a look at one more model before I show you other ways to figure it out. So as you can see, I have placed 8 pieces of the 12th size underneath my one hole, and I've aligned them up. And I'm wondering how many sixths do you think would also line up under the 12ths? You might be looking at your fraction strip model. And so let's see if you're right. Here is 1/6 and 2, 3, and 4. So how many sixth fraction pieces did you use? We used 4. So I see that 4/6 is equivalent to 8/12. Now, is there another way to show the same amount? Well, maybe you're thinking about your thirds. So let's see, I see one piece of orange, or 1/3, equaling 2/6. And so a second third equals another 2/6. So put them together. I see also that 2/3 is equivalent to 4/6, which is also equivalent to 8/12. All of those are equivalent fractions because they name the same amount. Now, is there another way to show the same amount? Any other possibilities? Well, not on our model. You are right if you said no. So we found 3 ways to show the same amount. Now, my question is, which way uses the fewest pieces? You say, of course, the orange. The thirds only have 2 pieces. And so we would call the fraction 2/3 this amount in what we say called simplest form. So there was another look at a little model. Now I'd like to show you some other ways that we can find equivalent fractions and simplest form using math. Now I want to show you a quick picture of our math book. Real quickly, it says Rennie is making fruit snacks or shakes. She needs 4/8 of a cup of pineapple juice. Her measuring cup does not show eighths. What other fractions are equivalent to 4/8? Now, in a few days, you're going to just know that answer right away because I hope that's an automatic one, but it might not be so automatic today. So one way is they suggest is using number lines. I'll tell you the truth, it's not my favorite way because I don't always see all the pieces in my mind of a number line, and I know my multiplication and division facts better, but in way number 1, I could imagine a number line from 0 to 1, breaking it in this case into 8 equal parts, knowing that 4 is somewhat in the middle, right? And comparing that to 16ths, a little bit smaller pieces, but realizing that 8/16 is also equivalent to 4/8. Or if I were to use the fewest number of pieces, I would see that 4/8 is also equivalent to 1/2. So if you can imagine a number line, that is one way to figure out and find equivalent fractions. But I love way 2 and 3. We can multiply. But like I mentioned in the other video, we are going to multiply the numerator and denominator by the same number. Around this school, we call it a fancy one. Why do we call it a fancy one? Well, because if I have two halves, here's our model, I have that whole stick, right? And if I were to have, let's say 4/4, my camera going to stay put? Looks like it's wiggling around on me tonight. All right, sort of. Now, it's not a flat surface, so it's not going to look as perfect as if it was a flat surface. But if I have 4/4, all right, you can see that that is the whole stick. So anytime my numerator and denominator are the same number, I am dealing with one whole. And we've learned earlier in the year that when we multiply by 1, the answer is the other number. And when we divide by 1, it doesn't change the answer. That is so important as we proceed to use our multiplication and division facts to make equivalent fractions. Let me show you how it's done a little bit. So let's take a few examples. And right now we're just going to focus on probably making equivalent fractions. So if I were to take the answer of 2/6, the fraction 2/6, a lot of times today you're going to have to make an equivalent fraction. We'll use that as an abbreviation there. And we're also going to have to put our fractions in what we would call simplest form. We'll let SF stand for simplest form. Now, how do I go about making equivalent fractions when I perhaps don't have the fraction strip paper right in front of me? Well, I'm going to think about my multiplication. The great thing is I can pick any fancy one I want to. And a fancy one, remember, is a number over itself. So if I want to just start simple, because I know my facts of 2, well, a fancy one is 2/2. Okay, now this is sort of in my mind. I can put it on my paper if I want to, but I don't really have to. But I can multiply the numerator by 2 and get 4. I can multiply my denominator by 2 and get 12. And I can say that 2/6 is equivalent to 4/12. Now, how would I put this 2/6 in simplest form? Well, the biggest thing to remember is with simplest form, you always need to divide. Why? Because simplest form fraction gets me down to the fewest pieces and the smallest numbers to use to get to that same amount. What do I mean? Here's my original 2/6. To get at the simplest form, I have to ask myself, what can I divide both of those numbers by? Well, you have to get used to seeing if they're both even numbers, you could always divide by 2. Sometimes more, but always by 2. So in my mind, but for today I'm going to do it on my paper so that you can see it, and you might want to do the same thing since this is kind of new for us. Any number divided by itself is 1. 6 divided by 2 is 3. So 2/6 put in simplest form is 1/3. I know I'm in simplest form because sometimes if I have a 1 in my numerator, I know I have a simplest form fraction because by definition, a simplest form fraction is this: a fraction whose numerator and denominator have the number 1 as the only common factor. So there's no other number I can divide 1 and 3 by except for 1. And that wouldn't change it. So 1/3 is a simplest form fraction. Let's take a look at another one. What if I have the problem the fraction 10/16? Now, what if I have to find an equivalent fraction and put it in simplest form? Well, an equivalent fraction I can multiply or divide by any fancy one. Now, in this case, because I have bigger numbers already, I may choose to divide. Because I don't know 16 times too many numbers off the top of my head as a basic fact. So an equivalent fraction is also a simplest form fraction. They all name the same amount. So I see that 10 and 16 are both even numbers. So in my mind, I know I can divide by 2. 10 divided by 2 is 5. 16 divided by 2 is 8. So I have just made an equivalent fraction. And believe it or not, I've also made it in simplest form. Why? Because I divided my numerator and denominator by the biggest number that they both can be divided by, and that was 2. So 5/8 is also the simplest form. Now, could I have multiplied something else? Absolutely. I could, I suppose, times by 10, because we all know the rules about timesing by 10. 10 times 10 is 100. 16 times 10 is that 16 with an extra 0. So those two are what we call equivalent fractions as well. Not really practical use. We can't really picture that real well in our mind. We may be able to picture what 5/8 looks like because we have that fraction model hopefully tucked in our head a little bit more. Let's take a look at how about one more? What if I have 4/10? You know what? We did that already with our model. So let's find a different one. How about if we do 4/14? Now we don't have 14ths on our fraction strip paper, so we've got to use this mathematical way of making a equivalent fraction and simplest form. Now you might realize there's lots of ways to make equivalent fractions. I could times both of these by 2 and get 8/28. I could divide both by 2. That's probably what I want to do for simplest form, because remember, to find simplest form, you always have to divide. So if I have 4/14, what is the biggest number I can divide both by? Well, it looks like it's 2. It's not 4. 4 divided by 4 would work, but 14 divided by 4 is going to give us a remainder, and we do not want any remainders when we're dividing. These are basic facts. So 2, they're both even. That should always tell you that you could at least start with 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 14 divided by 2 is 7. So my simplest form fraction is 2/7. Now we might see a few other things as we go about doing our math today. What if, I like this one. Are the fractions in each pair equivalent? I see 2/8 and 4/16. The answer to this kind of question is yes or no. Now, how can you tell? I will show you 2 ways. I think you're going to like way number 2 better than 1. But as a teacher, because I know my multiplication facts, and I hope you do too, I always think, can I think of what I call that fancy 1? Or sometimes I think of it as a cloud number because I'm just thinking about it in my cloud bubble here. How do I get from 2 to 4? You say, oh, I know, Miss Finnerbon, it's times 2 and 8 times 2. So in my mind, what did I do between these? I times both by 2, and they both equal, so yes, they are equivalent. Now I can show you something really cool that you can also figure out if these are equivalent, besides thinking about if they have a common or a fancy 1 in the middle. You can do something that's called cross multiplying. I can cross those numbers and think 8 times 4 is 32. And I have to cross multiply the other way. 16 times 2 is 32. So since 32 equals 32, yes, those fractions are equivalent. That's a pretty cool way, but then you have to be able to multiply sometimes bigger numbers to determine whether when you cross multiply, if they equal the same thing. Let's try this one. What about 14/15 compared to 7/9? The question is, yes or no, are they equivalent? Well, I'm thinking about the relationship I see between 14 and 7. I know I could divide by 2, but 15 divided by 2 is not 9. So that makes me think I do not think they are equivalent. So my guess would be no. Now you could cross multiply, but then you would have to do 15 times 7 and 14 times 9. And those are not easy to do problems. So I would think on this one, I'm just going to think, do I have that fancy one that I'm going between? The answer is no, they are not equivalent. So I'm running out of time on this portion. So please check out portion 2 as we can